What if Batman was in Star Wars? Let's explore the depths of this scenario in the video. As Yoda stands by the gardens of the Jedi Temple, he ponders everything he's seen over the past few days. A chill runs through his body as he recalls those less than pleasant memories. But at the same time, he feels a glimmer of hope at the possibilities. Nothing is set in stone, and there may be a chance that those visions will not come to pass. While he considers all of this, Mace Windu and Obi-Wan Kenobi appear to greet him.
The council has assembled. They are eager to hear your report.
Afraid. Not much there is to say of my journey.
So, nothing significant happened to you out there?
Yes, and no. To the end we are coming now.
Did your journey give you insight on how to win the war?
No longer certain that one ever does win a war. I am. For in fighting the battles, the bloodshed, already lost we have. Yet, open to us, a path remains. That unknown for the Sith is. Through this path, victory we may yet find. Not victory in the Clone Wars, but victory for all time.
As they depart to consider his words, Yoda sits down on the ground and begins meditating. Things seem so much clearer to him now that he thinks about it. All this time, since the Clone Wars began, the Jedi have been swimming in dangerous waters. Not only do they put themselves in the middle of this conflict, but they also put themselves at risk of forgetting why they are fighting. Instead of becoming peacekeepers, they are becoming soldiers and officers. They are no longer helping people as they used to, and justify it by saying that they are looking at the big picture. It is why some like Ahsoka and Barriss turned away from the Order. But perhaps they should be paying more attention to the little details. When Yoda returns to his quarters, he opens up his computer to consider all of this information. Unfortunately, the Jedi will not be able to do any investigation due to their obligation in the war. They will need someone else to solve cases like this. Yoda reaches for his holodisk to contact an old friend. On Earth, Bruce Wayne receives a hologram from Master Yoda.
A long time it has been, my friend. Hoped I had that never I would need to contact you. But serious the situation is. The Clone Wars only brings more questions than answers.
I'm not a soldier, my friend. I fight differently.
Not a soldier, but a detective I need. Wrapped in mysteries this conflict is, and unravel them you must.
Master, I want to help. But my duty is to protect Earth. If we get involved in this galactic conflict, we'll draw too much attention.
Not asking for Earth, I am. Only you, my friend. Come to Coruscant and investigate the evidence we've gathered.
All right. I'll look and see what I can uncover. Weeks later, the superhero sits in a nightclub, alone, pulling his cloak over his head as he tries to conceal his face. Eventually, Yoda waddles into the seat beside him and clears his throat. He slides over a holopad. Without another word, Yoda departs and leaves Batman to study this information. Once safely out of sight, he opens the datapad and sees it containing all the data they've gathered over the years about the identity of Darth Sidious, from his first reveal on Geonosis, to Obi-Wan and Anakin's mission to Obadiah, where they learn that Count Dooku created the clone army, and implies that he was acting under his master's instructions. Batman spends the next few days trying to decipher this and narrow down the suspects. While he knows that the Sith Lord is part of the Senate, it is impossible to narrow down who. So much of the Senate is corrupt and has its secrets. Trying to figure that out is impossible. However, he notices a minor footnote that he nearly misses. It's a mission report by Luminara Unduli, where she mentions interrogating Newt Gunray at some point. As she tried to probe his mind, he blocked her out. However, their short time suggested that someone other than Dooku controlled him. It's a long shot, but it's the closest thing to a lead he has. The problem is getting close to Newt Gunray, as he is still part of the CIS.
Out of reach, the Viceroy is. It will be difficult to get any information from him.
Difficult. but not impossible. I can go where most Jedi can't, but I'll need backup. Someone you trust, but who doesn't have any ties with the Jedi.
Know someone who can help. I do.
That person is Ahsoka Tano, who remains on Coruscant, though spends her time helping the people there. She is less than pleased to be dragged into the war. Batman notices this as the two depart Coruscant. Something tells me that you're not happy to be here. Wasn't this your mission before? At least, that's what I've gathered from the profile.
Do you really think that I want to get involved in this war? I've left the Order for this reason.
It's difficult, but it's the right thing to do.
Maybe. But nothing in this war is right. We're supposed to be peacekeepers, not generals. And now I'm about to head into some espionage for the Republic.
You don't have to come if you don't want to. But make sure that you can walk away without any regrets. I read the files. The Jedi have done a lot of bad things over the years, but they've done some good too.
You're right, Batman. Besides, if you're here, there's too much at stake to walk away now.
The two depart for Cato Nemoidia, but when they arrive, it's not Batman and Ahsoka who step out, but Bruce Wayne and his aide. They make their way to the Trade Federation headquarters with a business proposal. Wayne Tech Enterprises wants to open Earth to galactic trade with the Trade Federation. This will give them a monopoly on trade there, something the money-grubbing Viceroy can't resist, and the two agree on a meeting. The Viceroy sits in a grand dining hall, filled with the sounds of clinking cutlery and soft background music. Bruce Wayne, in his finest suit, enters the room at one end of the long dining table. Newt Gunray sits at the other end, and between them are a dozen Trade Federation representatives.
Your proposal is intriguing, Mr. Wayne. Opening Earth to galactic trade could indeed be very profitable. For all parties, of course.
I agree. Wayne Tech Enterprises believes in the potential for mutually beneficial arrangements, Viceroy. The Earth's resources and technology could greatly enhance Trade Federation operations. However, I do have some concerns. My home city is protected by a vigilante called Batman. My sources tell me he does not agree to this deal.
Some meddler is not something that concerns me. I assure you that he will not cause trouble. More importantly, what assurances do we have that this will remain exclusive?
Wayne Tech's interests align perfectly with those of the Trade Federation. Exclusivity is our top priority. A signal light flashes briefly on Bruce's wristwatch, unseen by Newt Gunray. It's a cue to begin the next phase of their plan. Suddenly, the lights flicker and go out. The room is plunged into darkness, save for the dim emergency lights casting eerie shadows.
What is the meaning of this?
Before Newt can react, a dark figure drops silently from the ceiling. It's Batman, cloaked in his iconic suit. He moves with swift precision, incapacitating the nearest guards with a few well-placed strikes.
Guards, protect me!
He runs into Bruce, who receives a batarang that knocks him out just as more guards rush into the room. Newt tries to rush behind them, but Batman leaps up and delivers a sweeping kick that throws most of them off their feet. As they fall, Batman approaches Newt Gunray, who is desperately trying to crawl away. He pulls the Viceroy close and pins him to the ground.
Your guards won't save you, Gunray. Please, I surrender.
Good. With a single blow, he knocks the Viceroy out with a swift punch. Once the last of the guards are taken care of, Bruce gets to his feet and turns the lights back on. Good job, Ahsoka. Ahsoka pulls back the Batman cowl and smooths her headtails down.
So, how did I do? Do I make a good Batman?
Let's just say you're lucky it's dark, and my suit has a voice modulator.
Well, how do you know he'll answer your questions? I've interrogated him before.
Don't worry, I have my ways. Now come on, let's get him to the roof. When Newt Gunray wakes up, he's on his back with Ahsoka looming over him, a grim smile on her lips.
Ah, Viceroy. It's nice to see you again. We never finished our last conversation. I believe you were going to tell me who your master is.
You will get nothing out of me, child. I will not sell out my master.
From the shadows, a shape appears and walks up to him. Batman draws himself to full height. Your master is the least of your worries right now. Make things easier on yourself and tell me what we want to know.
Please, mercy. I beg you. I am an innocent pawn.
If you're as innocent as you say, you should have no problem giving me the names of an evil man.
Please, if I say anything, Sidious will kill me.
I never said his name. He suddenly grabs Newt by the leg and dangles him off the edge. Ahsoka gasps but does not move to help him. My arm's getting tired, Viceroy.
Okay, I'll tell you everything.
As he begins to talk, his eyes widen as he feels his throat constricting. The Neimoidian gasps for air as a figure appears behind them. Batman and Ahsoka whirl around to see Count Dooku approaching them.
Don't worry, Viceroy. My master will not reach you.
Batman and Ahsoka spring into action, coordinating their attack seamlessly. Ahsoka charges first, her lightsabers flashing as she engages Dooku in a flurry of strikes. The Count doesn't put any effort into his defense, blocking her attacks with a few lazy parries. Even with 2 lightsabers, she can't seem to land a blow. Batman tosses Gunray back on the roof before using his grappling hook to maneuver around Dooku, aiming to disrupt his concentration. He lands a powerful kick that at least forces him to stop choking Gunray, but this does not even knock Dooku off balance as he counterattacks with the Force. A powerful push shoves Batman back, while Ahsoka presses the attack and crosses her blades with him. As the weapons crackle around them, Dooku grits his teeth and shoves Ahsoka back. He gives another Force push that sends Ahsoka sprawling while Batman hurls a pair of batarangs at him. The Count sidesteps both and explodes them with the Force. As he advances, he swings his lightsaber at Batman, forcing him to dodge out of the way. Reaching into his tool belt, Batman releases some smoke that temporarily blinds the Count, letting him land a few punches, but as Dooku regains his bearings, he uses his other senses to predict his attack. As Batman throws another punch, the Count catches it and throws Batman beside Ahsoka.
When Master Yoda sent spies, I was expecting more of a challenge.
Big talk from a man in chains. A flash of anger crosses the Sith Lord's face as he raises his lightsaber and steps forward.
You do not value your life, assassin. Otherwise, you would not underestimate the power of the dark side.
Power, yes. Just like the power your master has over you, forcing you to act like his enforcer, his pawn. Just like Gunray.
Watch your tone, assassin. This is all necessary for our plan for a greater future.
Sidious's plan, not yours. You're too intelligent to be content with playing second fiddle. A true Sith craves power, not servitude from what I know.
Sidious and I share the same vision. The galaxy will be remade.
And where does your vision fit in that? It looks like the end is near, and you're just in the same place. Your master's errand boy. It doesn't sound like an equal partnership. Do you think that's going to change after this plan of his is fulfilled?
And what are you suggesting?
Simple. That you do what every Sith Lord does. Claim power. To his surprise, Dooku begins to laugh. He deactivates his lightsaber and smiles at him.
I see now why Master Yoda sent you. Only a non-Jedi would have the strength of character to try such a move. Well, I am intrigued. Let's see what you can do, Batman.
He leans forward and whispers the name to Batman, whose eyes widen in surprise. Seeing this, the Count smiles and steps back, disappearing into the night. As Batman reports this to Yoda, the Jedi agrees to act, deciding to confront Palpatine, with Batman joining him. The two wait until the Chancellor has finished work for the day and is preparing to leave.
Ah, Master Yoda. What a pleasant surprise. And who is this?
He already heard the reports of Newt Gunray's attempted capture, and his hand slipped into his robe.
A friend. But troubling news we must discuss.
I see.
We know who you are, Sidious. For a moment, there is a genuine flicker of surprise in Palpatine's eyes, quickly masked by a cunning smile.
Is that so? And what makes you believe such accusations?
Then join us for an investigation. You can learn the truth.
No, that shan't be necessary. I suppose the charade is over.
Palpatine ignites his crimson blade, bathing the room with its ominous glow. Yoda responds by pulling out his lightsaber, while Batman reaches for his tool belt. Smoke suddenly bursts from one of the pouches, causing the room to be covered in a thick haze. Yoda leaps through the smoke, throwing quick thrusts and slashes while Palpatine fights blind. But while his senses are dulled, he moves with incredible speed, thrusting and slashing his lightsaber into the smoke. The diminutive Jedi Master meets his strikes, sliding and blocking each attack while Batman circles and throws bombs filled with knockout gas. Palpatine glimpses the bomb and catches it, detonating the bomb in midair and redirecting it with the Force. Through the smoke, several batarangs fly at him, but Palpatine either shatters them with his lightsaber or uses the Force to break them. With the smoke obscuring their vision, Palpatine manages to lift some items from his office and hurls them at Batman and Yoda. The small Jedi dodges the attack and leaps over them, aiming a swing at Palpatine's head. But this time, the Sith Lord is ready and kicks him aside. Palpatine follows by delivering a powerful Force push, sending Yoda and Batman sprawling. He advances on them, his lightsaber raised menacingly. Suddenly, the doors burst open. Ahsoka and Count Dooku enter the fray, their lightsabers ignited and ready. Ahsoka charges first, her lightsaber flashing as she blocks his attack. But the sheer power of Palpatine begins to overwhelm her. The Sith Lord smiles and throws her back. His next opponent is not as easy to defeat, though. Count Dooku marches down the hall and casually ignites his lightsaber. This time, it's Palpatine who can't break through his defenses, as even in his old age, Dooku's technique remains flawless. With him keeping Palpatine at bay, Yoda goes from the side while Batman throws a new array of gadgets that all explode around Palpatine's feet. Ahsoka even manages to get up and rejoin the fight. She blocks his attack and finishes their envelopment of Palpatine. Palpatine fights back with all his might, his movements a blur of dark energy and raw power. But even then, he can't block attacks from all sides, and he begins to tire. In desperation, he unleashes a burst of Force lightning from the ground and tries to strike them. Ahsoka and Batman jump aside while Dooku and Yoda catch the attacks. Batman lands on the side and uses his grappling hook to pull Palpatine off balance. Ahsoka follows up by sweeping his legs underneath him, and Yoda leaps onto Palpatine's chest, pointing a lightsaber at his heart. Exhausted, Palpatine slumps to the ground, just as Batman sprays him with some knockout gas. With Palpatine defeated, Dooku steps back and crosses his arms.
I assume you've gotten enough footage to prove Palpatine's identity. My testimony will ensure you are believed. But now it is time for me to depart.
Before Yoda can protest, the Count steps back out the door. Ahsoka follows after, promising to keep in touch soon. Batman lingers behind a bit longer.
Looks like my work here is done.
Many thanks I owe you, my friend.
Good luck with all this. My place is back in Gotham.
That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.